Jumpy. Jumpy, jumpy.
So you have at least somebody that's a good eater. Busy eating. Hello there, little one. I can see you sneaking up. You're too brave. You're very cute. Alright, so this is my first time in the pen with the two new girls, my two Mustang yearlings for the Sacramento TIP Challenge. As you can see, I have them both in the same pen, which can present some challenges. So I decided that my strategy to start was going to be to just work with one at a time, to focus on one of the horses and pretty much ignore the other one. So you can see here that I'm focusing on the Palomino. I decided to do that because she seemed slightly more outgoing and had already offered to come and check me out when I was setting up my phone. So I'm just doing some basic approach and retreat with her, stepping into her space until I get her attention, and backing up when she offers to look at me. And that was great because she didn't just look at me, but that's the first time that she moved towards me after I stepped into her space. So I backed off quite a bit there and gave her a break. So same thing here. I'm trying to step basically just on the edge of her bubble. So just close enough where I can cause a change to happen. And previously the change has been that she's felt comfortable enough to stay there and just look at me. This time though, the change was that she decided to move away. Not a big deal at all when she moves away. The Cremello of course goes with her, but like I said, I'm just going to ignore the Cremello. Right there, Palomino looked at me, so I backed off and stepped away and drew. Offers her release of pressure and also helps to create some curiosity. Here they got a little more fired up. So I'm not chasing them when they're going around the edge. I'm just trying to hold space. I'm also not just standing there doing nothing, although it might look like that, but I'm kind of rotating with them, holding space, moving with them slightly. And right there, just so happened that the hay pile was there, but she did stop and she looked my direction, so I backed off, gave her a big release of pressure, and I don't know if you guys saw that head shake, but she gave a nice head shake release as well. So same thing here, stepping into her bubble, she moves away, but this time she actually doesn't go behind her friend, so I back off a little and give her a release for that. And we're just kind of doing the dance here. I step into her space, get her attention, she looks at me kind of, and I back away and give her a release of pressure. Alright, back to work, but that was a fun little break time. It was pretty cute to watch them play, and I liked the fact that they were comfortable enough to play with that stick with me being so close. So, restarting, she seems a little more relaxed here, just getting into her space, and now starting to offer my hand and see what she thinks about that. It's kind of a bad angle there, but she didn't actually touch my hand, although she reached out for it, which was great. So I do a few more of these where I offer my hand, and when she reaches out, I retreat, release the pressure. So there, I offered her my hand, and she really didn't do much, so I'm moving my hand back and forth some to kind of try to get her attention. Again, just to make a change, and of course the change was, instead of her looking at me, she moved away. When she moved away, I decided to do my patented arm flap jump thing, just to put some pressure on her and make it less comfortable for her when she moved away. I don't want it to be terrifying or super scary when she moves away, but I want to offer her some incentive to not turn away from me, some incentive to stay with me and reach out for me and that sort of thing. So there she was offering some nice yawns. I see that stuff as a release of tension. You know, when you're working with them, even if they seem kind of quiet like her, it's kind of like the tension can build up, and it's like you're coiling a spring, and at some point that spring needs to release its energy, and you hope that it releases its energy with that lick and chew yawn thing. So it's just a sign that she was releasing. So same thing here, when she moves away or when I don't have her attention, I just kind of do this jump thing, flap my arms to create a little noise and movement to try to get her attention. I don't have any tool in my hand. I don't have a rope right now or a flag or a stick that I can wave around. So that's why I'm kind of doing this weird hop thing. Also, it's really cold, so I don't want to wave my arms and create a lot of airflow. So that's why I was doing the hop a little bit. That was really nice there because I moved into her space, and she finally kind of looked towards me. So what I'm trying to do here is go towards her tail, put some pressure on her behind the drive line, basically, like way behind the drive line, and I want to start creating a hindquarter yield. So I want to start teaching her that when I'm this far back and putting pressure like behind your tail, at your tail, that I would like for you to yield your hindquarters away from me. So half of a hindquarter yield is the nose coming towards me. So that's why there, I stopped and walked away and gave her a big reward when she tipped her nose towards me. All right, we're back to doing some approach and retreat with my hand. And there's something off in the distance behind me that has caught her attention. I think my neighbor was doing something with her horses over there. So she doesn't seem super interested here because her attention was elsewhere, but then she came back to me after I moved my hand some. I gave her a second there before I offered my hand again because it looked like she was making a decision if she was going to go closer to her friend or stay towards me, and I didn't want to reach my hand out when she was kind of making that decision. That right there, I think, was our first touch where she actually reached out and touched my hand. So that was great. And that's a tough spot there because she's relaxed enough with me that she has her head down and she's eating, but it's not the ideal position for her to be in when I reach my hand out. So I think that's why she decided to move away. She just wasn't very comfortable with my hand reaching for her with her head down. So I did my little jump thing that drove her around to the other side of her friend. And we'll try again here. That was already really nice. Good effort. I like there that she thought about backing up and maybe sneaking behind her friend and going away again, but she didn't. She stayed, reached out, touched my hand. I also like, too, that she's at least acknowledging me now when I reach my hand out instead of me reaching my hand out and her just kind of keeping her head down and then getting scared and going away. So that was really good. That was the end of day one, and as you can see, the weather's a little different. We finally have the sun out and we're on to day two. So I decided to bring my stick out and see how she would do with the stick. And I was really surprised. She acted like it wasn't scary at all. It's no big deal. So I just kind of went on in and started touching her with the stick. I like the stick as a tool because it separates touch from proximity. So both of those things can be scary for them in the beginning. The actual act of being touched with a hand or with anything connected to the human is scary. And then the human just being close is also scary. So the stick allows me to separate the two things. I can be not too close to her and reach out and touch her with the stick before I try to do both, before I try to do this and be close to her and touch her. So this was cool. This was our first touch. This was when she first allowed me to touch her. And you could almost see that slight lean into me. And I didn't feel like it was a tense, worried lean into me. Sometimes horses will actually be into pressure and brace against pressure that they're worried about. I felt like she was actually really enjoying the touch. And you can see here too that she is. She starts stretching her nose out, almost like she's enjoying the scratching. Like that. I have to say that she's the first that I can remember that I've ever had actually enjoy touch that quickly. So it always seems like there's kind of this pivoting point where horses first learn to accept touch from people and not be afraid of it, and then eventually most of them learn to enjoy touch from people. But her transition between accepting touch and enjoying touch was pretty darn immediate. So normally on day 2 with the new Mustang and doing first touches, I would do a lot more retreating. Approach and retreat, pressure and release, go in and touch for a few seconds and then go away and leave them alone and let them relax for a few seconds. But she was enjoying the touch so much that I just decided to stay there and keep scratching. And we had a good solid, I don't know, minute or 2 minutes where she was just really into it and enjoying it. Now, that move there, where she stepped into my space, eventually I'm going to discourage that. I don't want a horse learning to lean on me or lean into me to get scratches or get touches. But for right now, this is day 2. This is literally, I think, the second time that I've touched her. So I'm not going to be too particular about it. Of course, if it gets dangerous and she's pushing me out of the way, then I would do something to defend my space and discourage that. But for right now, I'm just going to let her enjoy the touch. Same thing here. She's moving into my space a bit and trying to position me. She's realized that the scratching feels really good, so she's trying to position me by the spots that she wants me to touch, like her hindquarters there. And yes, eventually I would discourage that and encourage my horse to keep their feet wherever they are, not push their shoulder into me, not push their hindquarter into me. But that'll be for maybe tomorrow, maybe the next day. For right now, I just want it to all be kind of happy and have her enjoy the touch. But like I said, as long as it's safe and it's not escalating and she's not pushing me way out of the way. So that was super nice. That was my first time kind of switching hands and reaching up with the right hand there. And she was totally relaxed with it. With the Mustangs, that can often be a big deal when you're touching them with the left hand and then your right one reaches up. So I'm working on her tag here. And I'm trying to basically switch between messing with the string on the tag and scratching her some. She doesn't seem terribly worried about me moving the tag, but you can see like that left ear went back a little. It makes some noise when you pull that string through the tag. And you can see there she kind of moved away some. So I'm just trying to mix it up, and there she gives me her butt a little bit. And like I said, right now I'm not going to be very particular about it. I'm going to let her offer me her butt and just let that be a good thing. So just keeping on switching between working on the tag and scratching her, working on the tag and scratching her. And that's it. Tag is off. And the little guy looking on the right, that's Roman. He's my Ohio Equine Affair Tip Challenge Mustang. He was being social and watching the going-ons. So she's not very interested in looking at the tag. I think she was kind of napping and just chilling after all the scratching. So I'm trying to get her attention because I want her to see, like, hey, look, I took your tag off. And there she goes, and she's like, ah, that's kind of neat. Pretty sure that was on me for a while. And then we have this nice moment. So she's reached out and stiffed my hand, and she was enjoying the touching and everything, but she hasn't been terribly extroverted, I guess, yet. So I like to hear that even once I take the tag down, that I'm this close and she's actually smelling me and checking me out. And that was the first time as well. So we have a nice little moment with Roman watching. And then she's sniffed all she needs to sniff. And we ended our day 2.